Guys, I am Dr. Sita Patel, and I really wanted to talk about how do I stop worrying about where my next patients are coming from for plastic surgeons and med spas. And I really created this presentation because I'm a plastic surgeon. I suffered with these issues of trying to figure out, hey, how do I keep the faucet on? How do I keep this flow of patients coming in for what I want to treat? And how do I fix that in terms of my private practice? So my disclosures are that I'm the founder of Live Plastic Surgery, the founder of Up Pediatric Plastic Surgery here in Houston. I'm also the co-founder of AdVital, which is a software for plastic surgeons and med spas. I'm a member of these associations, and I do have a disclaimer. I do not have an MBA, and I'm not a financial advisor, and the content in this presentation is my opinion and not to be confused with any financial advice. So, one of the key things that I wanted to get out there in terms of a message was that 75% of the time that we spend with our children in our lifetime will be spent by the age of 12. That means we need to be extremely efficient in terms of our practices to be able to have that family life interaction that we want to have with our families. Well, how do we do that? So I created my practice 5 years ago in Houston, and I built it brick by brick to get it to be a surgery center with 2 surgeons and being able to have ample patients within our clinics to actually get throughput and not have to worry about the next steps. Well, how do we do that? So, first step is the identity of the practice. Identifying what you want to specialize in, because you have to identify what niche you want to serve. What is your ideal client? What makes you the happiest? Where do you produce the best results? Because that is what's going to make you different than everybody else. It enhances the patient relationships, it enhances the increased visibility that you get to specialize in of what the message you put out there in terms of your social media, your website. It reduces competition because everybody else is running in multi directions. When you run in one focused direction, you can make an impact within the clients that you want to actually have as patients and in the impact in your current society of where you live. It increases word of mouth growth to say you specialize in this piece of it, gives you honed expertise, right? And you get to use less resources because you're not having to do all these different things. You're just doing one or two main things. The key to this is that now you're able to charge more for a procedure that takes you less time because you're the expert. So someone that's done 10,000 facelifts can do it quicker and produce better results. So now you're getting paid more per time and you're more efficient and you're producing a better outcome for your patients. Now the business side of medicine, the sales funnel, right? This you see it in terms of all these different businesses, and this is the wave of the future essentially, right? It's in media. Media is driving all the traffic and the people to then become leads, then prospects, then patients, and repeat patients and clients in your office. Well, how do you fill this from the top and work your way down? So the current sources that we get leads from are your website, SEO, phone calls, social media, paid ads, magazines, TV, radio, all these different things in terms of advertising, and then word of mouth referrals. Now, with these things, there are certain things that are linear and things that are quadratic in nature. Everything here at the top is all linear. That means it's one-to-one interaction, right? You have to pay for getting the set of eyeballs to see the content to then do the next thing, even from the point of making a phone call, right? Each one of these things, when it's linear, the cost of acquisition increases over time. The only difference is word of mouth referrals. Now that's quadratic. What does that mean? That means, back to grade school, ax squared plus bx equals c. Now what is that? Well, if you work backwards, right, in terms of saying this is how your word of mouth referrals work, and C is the total amount of word of mouth referrals that you can get. BX is the first level of the referrals right here. That would you buy it again and your current referral people. Now those referrals that then tell other people are what amplify that, and that's the AX squared. AX squared is this amount here. BX is this right here. So you can see word of mouth referrals, they increase at a tremendous rate, and it's exponential plus on top of it. And the biggest kicker is that the cost of acquisition goes down over time. Now that means you can renew all the people that fill the top of your funnel by word of mouth referrals, and it will cost you less and less and less over time. Now, the common mistakes of actually getting word of mouth referrals is the wording of your offer. So is a significant difference between these two things. Invite a friend and try this product and you get $20 off your next bill, right? Versus invite a friend and try this product and gift her $20 off the bill. The objection of having to put their reputation on the line is what holds people back from giving you all the referrals they can actually send this to in terms of when they think about referring your products or your surgeries or what you provide in your practice. So everything is shifted to this invite a friend to try this product to gift her the $20 off her first bill. Now, this pro-social framing significantly increases the probability of someone actually making the referral by 60%, right? Now, what does that 60% actually turn into for you? That's 86% in increase of conversions of new customers, right? That means that 86% of those people actually buy from you. Now, that is tremendous in knowing those numbers, because the other fact is those people that buy from you from a referral, they actually spend 200% more than the initial referral. Now, how do you build this whole system up? Well, it all comes down to asking for reviews on top of referrals. The soft pitch, essentially for reviews, which 88% of people look at before they come in and see you as a physician. They trust the referral process of your Google reviews, right? Of what do you have out there? Well, the first step is ask patients when they say thank you. That's one of the common things that we don't do in our practices. And then after every appointment, because every appointment is a different experience, a different opportunity to talk about somebody different, something small that could have changed in your practice, that someone took time to care for your patient, right? We also found the common times to ask for reviews is day 1, 6 weeks post-operatively, and 6 months post-operatively. And this can be from a procedure or a surgery. Back to this business side of funnel. So we talked about traffic so far. Now let's talk about leads and what that prospect is. So in terms of the traffic, you can see here that Apple has made significant changes in terms of privacy, right? That is their mainstay of marketing right now. Privacy is king. Privacy, that's the iPhone. They're aligning themselves with privacy because with the iOS 14 update, they transitioned into this Web 3.0. Where do your leads live, right? And what kind of data do you have about them? Well, right now we've been using third-party data for the longest period of time in terms of Facebook, Google Ads. These marketing agencies have been just putting an ad out there and letting the AI systems and the algorithms crunch all the data to find your ideal clients, and it's been simple for them. They've been able to print out your next customers for you. But Apple took all that data away. They cut them at the knees, essentially removing all that data in terms of that micro data that was helping target your next customer clientele. So everything is switching over to zero-party data, but where is all this stuff? Right now, are you just writing down all the leads that come in, or are you having a spreadsheet or some kind of form? If you do, it's not exceptionally helpful because you're not able to leverage that to find your next customers, to find your next audience set. Now, in terms of traffic and attention, right? Where do they live now? So right now, you can see most people live on Facebook, about 2.9 billion people, followed by YouTube, then there's Instagram, then there's TikTok as well. TikTok has massively been increasing in terms of market share, right? And you can tell that because Facebook literally lost $250 billion over the last quarter because they took their foot off the throttle. They took their foot off the gas essentially in terms of targeting video and reels, and that's what they're actually the next quarter that they're doing. Essentially, is changing their platform to focus more on reels to get that market share back from TikTok, because TikTok is increasing at like a immense clip of like increasing users by 45%. Now, the average American spends 24 hours a week online. And so you want to target them on the platform which you think your ideal avatar is living on, right? The attention span is also decreasing. So whatever you're putting on these platforms, it has to hit your quality and matters more than the quantity. But if you have quality, quantity, that is the highest level that you can put out there in terms of content. Now that's the other piece of the traffic itself. Now, what happens in the current patient journey? In the current patient journey, people are going from social media, or they're going from a website form, or they're going from a phone call, and they're having to wait for someone to respond or a conversation. And that's an opportunity for them to be lost. If they book an appointment, they may no-show. Again, they may be lost. If they get a quote, how long are we following up with these folks, right? Is it only 2 weeks or so? And after that, are they lost? Are they going to a competitor? What's happening? And then even after surgery, how are we cross-pollinating all the other services that we have and telling them about them? Because they may get surgery for you, but they go across the street essentially to get Botox and fillers. Why is that? Because they didn't know. They weren't aware that you offered this service. Well, how do you help yourself in terms of getting leads to actually come in? Well, when they see an advertisement, when they see something in terms of your social media, they're called cold leads. They have just heard about your messaging, but they're not qualified, or they're not interested in exactly what you're selling yet because they don't know, like, and trust you. They're getting to know you right now, but they need to like and trust you to do the next steps. You need to leverage the content that you have. This is what I mean in terms of leveraging content. It means with an SMS message, an email, or a video that tells them who you are, what you specialize in, what your niche is in terms of, your market of plastic surgery or a med spa or some type of treatment that you focus on specially. And then those people are going to be attracted to you because like attracts like. They're liking your messaging. They like who you are. And then they will buy from you at that point, because buying is emotion driven. And if you do not connect with your emotion, they will not buy from you. Now, how do you get to do all these things? Well, you can nurture these leads essentially with automations and software, right? Using those SMSs, emails, voicemails, photos, videos, and reviews. And the key metrics are that you want to respond within 5 minutes when the lead comes in, because you'll retain 85% of them. 85%, right? Just by responding within 5 minutes. But how do you get your staff to do that? How do you get your front office to be able to do that? Well, you need to augment that with a little bit of automation, a little bit of AI, and some software as well. Now, how many touch points does it take? How many times do you actually have to reach out with some form of communication or messaging to get them to do the next thing? It's 8 to 12 touch points. How do you get to do that manually at this day and age with everything flying in at all different levels, and you have an office and a clinic that's running with patients coming in, asking questions, or moving on to the next piece of the journey that they have? So software and automations help with this tremendously. But you have to figure out what fits for your practice in terms of the size it is and what you want your ideal outcome to be. And that means you have to see, do you want to automate the reminders? Do you want to automate, some of the portals, some of the tracking measures of, where along the journey they are, how many messaging, emails or SMSs that you want to give them to overcome their objections to buy from you, right? Whether it's monetary, whether it's a safety issue, whether it's fear, right? Those are the major things that drive people to make decisions, right? And so you want to try to leverage some of the software in terms of the automations for this. Now, the biggest objection to automations is, it decreases the empathy. Well, what we found is the exact opposite within our practice. When our front desk is stressed about trying to maintain the phone calls and the leads coming in, trying to respond within 5 minutes in that portion of it, we're not able to provide that good quality service. Also, the software is working after hours, so people can book online and get onto our schedules on their time. That's crucial. Again, these scheduling, these spreadsheets that keep track of all this stuff, they can be outdated. Essentially, they can be not updated. Somebody can be out, and therefore you're missing leads. You're missing opportunity to actually serve your ideal clientele. Also, when someone's out sick, where do you pick up from? How do you know exactly where in the conversation you left off in without the office seeming like they don't know what they're doing? Well, you need a communication portal to be able to do that, some software that helps you with all this. And what we found in our practice is that once we put the software in place, our patient care coordinators had more time to spend with patients. And that was reflected in our reviews, where our reviews actually mentioned our staff members by first name, on top of getting 5-star reviews. So for us, it actually increased the empathy and the touch points that they actually felt like they got personalized care. So Now, after they're a customer of yours, well, how do you find out what marketing is working and what's not to make sure you're running in the right direction, right? To have transparency in that marketing. Because it's one thing that, they tell you about the click-through rates and the impressions, but they don't tell you the nitty-gritty numbers that you need to know. So, do the math for your practice. It is so important to know your numbers so you can make decisions on that data. So let's start at the top. This is the traffic. This is the number of eyeballs that actually see your practice. This is the impressions as they talk about to see that. Let's take the average number, not the average number, just take a roundabout number to say 1,000, right? The average number actually, depending on what area of the country you are and how much time you spent in getting your awareness out there in terms of your branding, that can affect what this top number is, right? In terms of the more popular you are, you're going to get between 5,000 and 10,000. If it's a little bit less, you're going to get between 2,000 and 5,000. So taking a roundabout number, saying 1,000 people in terms of eyeballs, impressions, actually see you, about 16% of them will convert into a lead where they'll submit a form, give you a phone call, and give you their information so that you can contact them. Out of those people, about 50% of those people that are leads are qualified enough to make it to the next stage of actually being a patient and being an appointment booked on your schedule. And that turns out to be from 160 goes down to 80. Now, out of those 80, if you have a good system of operations for qualifying these people and then converting them into the procedures that they want to have because they've raised their hand, they've done everything else. They just have the objections that you need to get them through to get a 75% close rate to get 60 patients in your office, right? And that's 60 patients that actually provide procedures. So, how can you take that one step further? Now, if you take those 60 people that actually you operated on and did a fantastic job on because your product, you've honed it, you've become the expert in that product, right? That procedure. Then you can convert that into word of mouth. And now the numbers are even more drastic when you convert that in terms of word of mouth referrals for the next patients that actually come in. So if you take that 60 and say 60% of them refer patients, so that's 36 of them. And 36 people on average refer about 2.5 people each. That leads to 90 patients. 90 patients that come in and see you, 86% of those convert, 77 patients. And these people are spending twice as 2 to 4 times as much as the initial. So when you think about that, you've literally 4 to 6x your revenue from these 60 patients to actually fill the clinic for the next 77 without spending any more money on ads or anything else. So that's where it's crucial to leverage the 60 here to the word of mouth section. Now the current reports, right, that your marketing agencies tell you is saying, hey, these are the total impressions, these are the total clicks, this is my click-through rate. Yeah, click-through rates greater than 1% are good, right? Average CPC, again, it's going to be different for different marketing, in different parts of the country. And then you're going to see the clicks and the costs in that portion of it. But it doesn't tell you anything, right? What we in our practice use is a revenue dashboard. And this revenue dashboard takes all the information in from the ad platforms and it breaks it down and say, hey, this is the total revenue made, this is the total amount spent, this is the total profit you got from ads. And that is crucial to know because you want to know where ads are working, but more importantly, you want to know where it's not working so you can focus on just what's working and then drive your efforts towards that platform because it's not only money, but it's the content that you actually have to provide to get the best offers for that platform, right? And that's what's crucial. Now, time is our most valuable asset. To learn more about compounding it, right? And improving your sales, marketing, and operations in your private practice or med spa, you can click on this QR code or you can scan it and it can take you to a blind spot assessment. And that can help you identify what parts you need to work on, right? And how to work on them. And also find out about a software that may be able to help your practice depending on if you're the right fit. Your practice health equals your health, your time, and your legacy. So I appreciate you guys listening and I look forward to talking to you to see how we can help you.